As ever, in order to get as many people in as possible, I'd prefer short and succinct questions and answers to match. And I call Alistair Allen.
To ask the Scottish Government what action it is taking to address the ongoing disruption to lifeline ferry routes served by CalMac.
Minister Graham Day.
Presiding Officer, we very much recognise the community's frustration at the current disruption and the impact it's having. We're doing everything that we can supporting CalMac to maximise available capacity across the network and to ensure the timely resolution of these issues. Since becoming Minister for Transport, I've very much prioritised these issues. I've already met with CalMac reps and with local MSPs, including Dr Allen. Furthermore, I'll be meeting the independent CalMac Community Board on Friday to hear their views, and I am very much open to constructive, viable suggestions for improving matters. We're currently actively exploring opportunities for chartering additional tonnage, including consideration of the suitability of the MV Pentolina to increase resilience across the network. We've also confirmed new investment of £580 million in ports and vessels to support and improve Scotland's ferry services over the next 5 years.
Alistair Allen.
I thank the Minister for his reply and welcome him to his new role. As you'll appreciate, the entire economy of any island depends on its ferry. I have been deluged in recent weeks by emails from families desperate to visit relatives on the mainland who have had long booked tickets cancelled, businesses who can no longer get building materials to the islands or export shellfish, and tourist businesses struggling to cope with the news that all bookings are suspended for a fortnight. MV Loch Seaforth is CalMac's largest major vessel, but she is also CalMac's newest. She should not be experiencing technical issues of this severity. Will there be an investigation into the causes of these faults?
Minister Graham Day.
Presiding Officer, let me say that I entirely recognise the intolerable nature of the situation for islanders on an individual and economic basis. I also realise that what they want is action rather than warm words, hence the work that's going on to improve matters in the short, medium and longer term. With regard to the vessel at the centre of this, CalMac are rightly fully focused on resolving this issue and getting the Loch Seaforth back into service as quickly as possible. In parallel, however, specialist reports have been commissioned to examine the cause of the issue, and any recommendations will be fully considered. Once the reports are finalised and digested, I'm happy to commit to updating members on the outcome of that.
Alistair Allen.
I thank the Minister and appreciate the attention he's giving to these matters. While the issues with MV Loch Seaforth are unprecedented, breakdowns of major vessels on lifeline routes are unfortunately not. It is now obvious for all to see that CalMac at present does not have enough vessels to run its services with the resilience necessary. What will the Government do in the immediate term to charter additional vessels and to ensure that the next overdue vessel is placed with a shipyard soon?
Minister Graham Day.
As I said earlier to Dr Allen, we are actively, and I mean actively, looking at accessing additional tonnage to take care of the immediate future. And with regard to the vessels that are due to be the orders to be placed, that is also in hand, I think with a view to having one in particular, I think the one Dr Allen refers to, well in train by the end of the financial year.
Thank you. I now call Katie Clark.
The Minister will be aware that part of the reason that we have this problem is a failure since 2011 to commission sufficient vessels. Would the Minister be willing to meet with myself as a West Scotland List MSP to look at how we address the long-term problem of failure to consult and listen with local communities, which was highlighted in the recent committee report, and look at how we make sure that islanders on Arran and indeed the trade unions who represent the CalMac workforce are involved in decision making?
Minister Graham Day.
Well, I think, as I've already indicated, I'm willing to work constructively with anyone from across the chamber if they're willing to engage constructively as well. I think what we need, Presiding Officer, is a solution in the short to medium term that does not involve robbing Peter to pay Paul and does add to the assets that we have here to help properly begin to tackle this issue.
Thank you. I now call Kenneth Gibson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Firstly, I'm delighted that the Minister has hit the ground running, having already committed himself to real and long-lasting improvements to Scotland's ferry service. Can I ask him what changes will be implemented to ensure a more responsive and reactive customer focus at CalMac to improve contingency planning in the event of future ferry disruptions?
Minister.
I think, President Officer, again, that kind of touches what I've just answered, that we need to have an emergency plan, if you like, for that when these sort of incidents arise, we can respond in a way which is, again, as I said earlier, not robbing Peter to pay Paul. Mr Gibson will understand I've only been in post for a few days. This is very much a work in progress, but I give him the assurance that all of this is being actively looked at.
And Ariane Burgess.
I'm heartened to hear the Minister's response and also the investment in the ferry fleet. What I would love to hear is a commitment to a green ferry fleet. Can the Minister assure me that in the next 5 years we're going to see ferries that are green and help us meet our net zero targets?
Minister. Presiding Officer, as I seem to recall from last week, the Greens were very critical of transport sitting in this particular portfolio, but it's self-evident. It's there for a reason, because transport is such a large emitter. Everything we do going forward is with a view to tackling the climate emergency and driving down emissions.